Hello, welcome to another episode of Budget Breakdown here in the Oklahoma Senate. We're joined, as we are every episode, with Senator Roger Thompson, Chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Senator Thompson, thanks for joining us here and having us.
Hey, thanks for dropping by. Always glad to talk about the budget.
It's been a long time since we've taped one of these episodes. A lot has happened, of course.
Yes.
Senator Thompson and the other members of the Appropriations Committee and the Senate have been hard at work, poring over the numbers, taking a look at next year's budget projections. And one big thing that happened was in the month of December, the Board of Equalization met. Can you fill us in exactly what happened there?
Yes, sir. December the 20th, the Board of Equalization certified the first round of numbers. Now, they'll meet again in February, and that will be the actual numbers that we'll build our budget on.
Right. So in December preliminary numbers, the governor bases his budget off that. A lot of people get confused. In February, that's the number that the legislature gets.
Exactly.
Right.
And out of that number, we'll be able to budget about 95% of that number.
Right.
That is the law. That gives us a 5% cushion.
Right.
In the Board of Equalization number, we came in about $9.3 million to the positive.
That's good.
And that's a very small number based upon our budget. However, with the downturn in oil and gas this last year, it speaks well for the diversification
Right.
of Oklahoma. Our colleagues have been working for a number of years to diversify the economy. Aerospace is now our leading #2 industry.
Oh, that's great
And
news.
so I'm glad to see, with oil and gas down as it is, we've still got a little bit of a growth in the state of Oklahoma.
Because in years past, Oklahoma's economy has gone up and down, just
Sure.
like oil and gas, and it leads to very tall highs and very low lows. So
Exactly.
straightening that out is good news for our economy.
It's been very, very good. And then following the Board of Equalization meeting, there was some talk out of the governor's office on one-times.
Right.
And so I just thought it'd be kind of neat today if we just kind of listed some of the
Yeah,
one-times that the
definitely.
Senate had that we spent money on last year. And welcome to go over the list.
Let's do it. So one time, it's kind of like in your family budget. Your car breaks down, something happens, you need an emergency repair. You have that one-time expense, and then the next month or the next year, you don't have to pay for that, right?
That's exactly right. And so we will decide if some of these need to go forward, but these are actual one-time
Right.
expenses. So last year we did two different bills of appropriations through the Commerce Department for the Governor's Quick Action Closing Fund.
Right.
The first was $5 million, and that's whenever we brought back the $30 million from the Health Department. The governor
right.
wanted $5 million for his closing, and so
Right.
we agreed to that. And then we appropriated $14 million. These are one-time expenses. The County Road and Bridges Fund, we gave them an extra $30 million this last year.
Right.
And so a one-time expense. Emergency Fund, we gave $5.4 million. And we didn't realize when we were in session how important that was going to be. Had all
Right.
the flooding in eastern Oklahoma.
Devastating flooding.
Money that was used to match federal funds, a great deal. $2 million to the mansion repairs, and kind of neat. Whenever the first estimate came out on that, it came out at $5 million. And the governor said, that's just way too much money. If you'll give me $2 million, I'll fix the mansion.
Oh, that's great to
And
see.
so we gave the governor $2 million, and
Right.
as far as I know, that's going along very well. Maintenance of state buildings, $6.1 million. We're way behind in our maintenance. We need to give more
Yeah.
money to that, but that's a one-time. I look for this to be one of those that we'll come back and talk about again this next year.
Right. There's a big need out there.
Digital transformation, $15 million. I looked at the last report that they had published, which was early fall, and they spent about $2 million so far out of that account.
Okay.
There's a lot of good things to be done in digital transformation.
Right.
Secretary Ostro is doing a good job. Immunization vaccines, this is going to a true one-time, $758,247, and you can see that's a very specific
That
number.
is very specific.
And to get into that, so they needed it. We had the old hospital down in Norman
Right.
that Cleveland County says we would like to tear that down for you, but it's filled with asbestos, and so
Right.
it's $1.9 million. That's a true one-time.
That comes off. Right.
Same way with the bond of Tallahena Ardmore bond, $2 million.
Right.
Now this is a new one. We started this last year.
Right.
There are just simply ups and downs all of the time with our waivers.
Right.
And
For Medicaid, Medicare?
Absolutely. Nursing homes, hospitals.
Right.
And so our federal match, actually we got a pretty good bump this last year, but instead of using all that, we created this preservation fund of
Yeah.
$29 million. That way next time that the FMAP goes down, we're going to have a little money here to hold those provider rates steady.
That's really innovative
And,
and great planning for the future.
Oh, it really was. Senator Simpson led the way on that and did a really great job
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Healthy Food Finance Revolving Fund, that's called the food desert, underserved areas within the
Right.
state that we do some public-private partnership, $500,000. Forestry equipment, $100,000.
Yeah.
Great need for especially rural Oklahoma and fires, and we did this.
And it's equipment, so again, one time.
One time. Tulsa Race Massacre, one time, $1.5 million. The 100-year anniversary,
Right,
that's
it's
coming
coming
up
up.
next year, and
Right.
we definitely want to be a part of that. $1 million to the communication system, that was over at DPS, and that was a one-time, and a little bit just kind of get them brought up to date as we
Right.
look at Real ID. This is the one right here that we passed last year on the Revenue Stabilization Fund.
Right.
We put $200 million into it, and we capped that at 3% of the general revenue. So whatever's certified, we capped that.
3%, okay.
And if we had not capped that, the fund is funded from the 5-year average of oil, 5-year average of natural gas, 5-year average of our corporate tax,
Right.
and then whatever the difference is between what's coming in now. So if it had not been capped, we'd been looking at about $434 million. So it's capped at $200
That would have
million.
been a huge expense.
And then as we changed over from the old workers' comp system to the new, we had about $5 million actual one time that we wanted to clean up. And so it gave us this last year about $319,618,995 of
Another
one-time
very
money.
specific number.
Yes. And this one right here, you know, right now we'll have to put about $200 million in. So we just take the 200 off of that, still leaves us with almost $120 million
Right.
that are true one-times that we can go back and say, even though we're coming in at about $9 million above budget, great news.
Yeah.
We still got at least probably $100 million that we can take a look at. And I'm sure all of these same entities will be back and we'll have those discussions how we'll move forward.
Right. So the good news is we have cushion for this coming year. There's
Yes.
been talk in the media about a flat budget. We're doing all we can you're doing all you
Right.
can to pour over the budgets and make sure the dollars are maximized, but we've got cushion there, which is always good when we're evaluating the different priorities of state budget.
Oh, absolutely. And our subcommittee chairs have been working all summer. I've been working all summer. We definitely want to save money where we can save money.
Yes.
There's no doubt that our economy is not as robust as it was a year ago. We've got several things on the horizon, whether it's going to be the Medicaid expansion,
Right.
the Real ID,
Right.
a number of things are being talked about. We've got to make sure we have money for those. And so even though we may say, hey, we've got an extra $119 million of one-times we could possibly use, I think you're going to see a very conservative approach to the budget this year.
That's right. So right now we're a few weeks away from the legislative session, and so like you said earlier in this video, the Board of Equalization will meet again in February. We'll have the certification number that the legislature will build their budget off. We've just learned today about the cushion we have, and so then the session's in gear. We'll be meeting more regularly to talk
That's right.
about the budget breakdown. So we thank you, Senator Thompson, for taking time to explain one-time funds here in the budget. We look forward to talking to you again this upcoming session. We thank all of you for joining us at home. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Send us an email. Send us a phone call. Come talk to us here in the Capitol. We'd love to hear from you if there's anything you'd like us to help explain in the state budgeting process. So once again, thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.